All right, let's just jump right into this. What we're looking at here is a massive philosophical battle, really a cosmic wager for the very soul of existence. And the entire battleground? Well, it's this very strange, very old relic. So get this, what you're looking at is the solidified blood of Saint Januarius of Naples. For centuries, this little vial, this dark, frozen clot, has been at the center of so-called miracles. But in this story, it becomes the ultimate poker chip in a game between gods. And here are our two players. On one side, you have the eternally creative, this force of pure, chaotic Dionysian life. Think raw passion, instinct. It's shown as a laughing child of fire. And on the other side, the spirit of gravity. This is the embodiment of order, of dogma, of no. It wants everything to stay solid, preserved, and, unchanging. Okay, so this brings us to the first act of our whole drama, the wager itself. This is where the initial idea, the argument for life, is really put to the test. And here are the terms, with literally everything on the line. The spirit of gravity puts his leaden book on the table and bets that the blood will stay a stone, a perfect dead relic. If he wins, the world becomes a silent museum of statues. But the eternally creative, he bets the blood will betray its own holiness, that it'll get warm, dangerous, and start flowing once again. So here's the crucial point for the life-affirming side. It's this core belief that desire, will, and a deep connection to this messy, earthly, chaotic existence, that's what's fundamental. The blood isn't just some inert object, it's a vessel for what you might call the will to power. And the trigger for this whole thing? Oh, it's brilliant. The blood doesn't melt because of some divine grace or mercy from on high, no. It melts because it hears the rumble of the volcano Vesuvius, its primal elemental brother. This isn't salvation, it's a reclamation by the earth itself, driven by what's called amor fati, a powerful, total love of one's own fate, the good and the bad. And the result isn't some gentle thaw. It's a violent, assertive, powerful act of becoming. The blood doesn't ask for permission. It takes its liquid form back with this undeniable urge, completely rejecting the frozen state that was forced upon it. The moment it melts, the blood cries out de capo, which means once more. Now, this is a direct nod to Nietzsche's idea of eternal recurrence. It is the ultimate yes to life. It's saying you'd live through all the suffering, all the struggle, all the fire and pain, all over again. And just like that, the verdict is in. The eternally creative wins the wager. The frozen dogma melts. The relic refuses to be a static symbol of virtue and instead becomes this dynamic, flowing proof of the will to live. He isn't a saint, he's a stream. But a victory for the stream is never the end of the story, is it? As we move into our second act, we see that the spirit of gravity, well, it never really goes away. This is the antithesis, the counter-argument, where the very symbol of life's victory gets twisted and inverted. So on this world called New Canaan, a resurrected Januarius comes back. But he is no longer a stream. Now he's called the unholy man, and he has completely aligned himself with the very forces of stagnation he once defeated, the spirit of gravity and the totalitarian cosmic god Darkseid, who wants nothing but absolute order. And this is where the central symbol, fire, gets completely flipped on its head. The fire from Vesuvius was this chaotic natural force that liquefied the blood, that said yes to life. But the industrial fire of the apocalyptian forge, it's controlled, it's engineered, and it's used to temper, to solidify, to enforce dogma, to turn life right back into a statue. See, this forge is the engine for something called the perfected protocol. And what it does is it takes the raw, chaotic instinct of the universe, this primordial scream, and it doesn't destroy it. No, it refines it, weaponizes it, and transforms it into the mechanized, absolute order of the fifth world. And here you just get this stark visual of that very process. Beings of pure impulse, these chaotic individuals who embody that untempered, life-affirming spirit, they're fed through the forge, and they emerge as perfected, uniform servants of a single, sterile truth. So this huge escalation leads us to the core existential problem of this entire universe. It's a choice, but it's a choice between two equally horrifying ways to be annihilated. And the crucial question becomes this: what's worse? A perfectly ordered cage where there's no freedom, or a chaotic abyss where there's no truth. These are the two tyrannies we're facing. On one hand, you have the cage. That's a universe without meaning because there's no choice. And on the other, the abyss, a universe without meaning because nothing is real. Both are born from this deep, deep fear of a meaningless existence. I absolutely love this metaphor. Imagine all of existence is a library. The agent of the cage, this guy Vril Dox, he's the librarian who wants to burn every single book except for one perfect, factual encyclopedia. But the agent of the abyss, the continuist, he's the vandal who sneaks in every night and rewrites all the books until no story means anything at all. But what if there's a third way? What if there's a path that doesn't choose between the cage and the abyss, but actually transcends them? Well, this brings us to the synthesis. So let's look at a case study, the character Vampirella. For decades, her origin story was just a total mess of contradictions. Was she an alien, a demon from hell? This wasn't just bad writing, it was deliberate manipulation that left her with what the text calls a deep existential nausea. Her big breakthrough wasn't finding the one true origin. It was this profound, mind-blowing realization that the chaos, the contradictions, the very manipulation that was done to her, that was her truth. The problem itself became the answer. And this is what she becomes, an uncontainable subject. She stops being a victim of her story and instead weaponizes her fractured past. By embracing every single contradictory memory, she defines herself from the inside out. It makes her immune to anyone trying to rewrite her from the outside. She literally becomes a self-created being, an Übermensch. And this all leads us back to Nietzsche's famous declaration. This is the ultimate verdict on the struggle of life. We aren't the beast, and we're not yet the overman. We are that perilous, dangerous transition between them. So, at the end of the day, the ultimate takeaway here isn't about choosing the safety of the cage or just giving up and falling into the chaos of the abyss. The real challenge is to embody the struggle itself, to have the courage to be that rope, to live dangerously, and to constantly forge your own meaning on the path of becoming who you are meant to be.